There is a kind of person in this world who never asks for help. Not because they do not need it, but because somewhere deep inside, they stopped believing they deserve it. His name was James. He lived in a small flat in Manchester. Nothing fancy, just a place with a kettle, a worn-out sofa, and a notebook he kept under his bed. He worked in an office during the day. Quiet job. Steady pay. Nothing remarkable from the outside. But everyone around James knew one thing. If life got difficult, you called James first. When his colleague Sarah was going through a divorce, she called James. When his sister rang at 2 in the morning, crying about money, James answered. When his friend Tom lost his job and did not know how to tell his wife, it was James who sat with him on a park bench in the cold Manchester air and helped him find the words. James always had time. James always had a steady voice. James always had 2 open hands. People said, James is so solid. They said, I don't know what I'd do without him. And James smiled and said, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Tell me about you. But here is what no one saw. James had not slept properly in 3 months. He had a dream, a small cafe he wanted to open one day, somewhere quiet with good coffee and mismatched chairs. He had written the whole plan in that notebook under his bed, page after page. But he had never told a single person about it. He had a feeling in his chest, quiet and heavy, that had been sitting there for years. He had problems too, real ones, big ones. But every time someone called, he answered. Every time someone was falling, he caught them. And every time he put his phone down at night, he sat alone in his flat, in the dark, and just breathed. Not in peace, only in exhaustion. One evening, Tom called. Tom was upset. Tom was crying. James listened for 2 full hours. He said the right things. He calmed Tom down. He helped him see a way forward. At the end of the call, Tom said, Cheers, mate. You always know what to say. You're always okay. I wish I had your strength, honestly. And James said, I'm fine. You'll be all right. Get some rest. He put the phone down. And then, for the first time in years, he cried. Not a little. He cried the way a person cries when they have been holding something for far too long. The way a wall cries when it finally cracks. Because he wanted to tell Tom. He wanted to say, I am not okay. I am exhausted. I have a dream I've never spoken about. I have fears I carry alone every single night. I also need someone to sit with me in the dark. But he could not say it. Because he had played the role of the strong one for so long, he had forgotten he was also just a person. The next morning, James went for a walk along the canal. It was early, gray sky, the kind of quiet that only exists before the city wakes up. He stopped at a small cafe that had just opened. An old man behind the counter handed him a tea without asking. James noticed the mug, old, chipped on one side, repaired with a thin line of dried glue. Visible, imperfect, but still holding. The old man caught him staring and said, simply, broke once, still does the job. James sat with that for a long time, and slowly, something shifted inside him. He realized something he had never let himself see before. He was not being strong. He was being invisible. He had made himself so available to everyone else that he had completely disappeared from his own life. The people he helped, they knew his time, his patience, his advice, but not one of them knew about the cafe dream. Not one of them knew about the notebook under the bed. Not one of them had ever been given the chance, because James had never let them in. He thought letting people help him meant he was weak. Very British of him, actually. Keep calm, carry on, don't make a fuss. It was the first time in years that James felt light. Not because his problems were solved, but because he finally stopped carrying them alone. If you are the person everyone leans on, this story is for you. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to crack. You are allowed to say, "Today, I am the one who needs help." Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is the only way you can truly take care of others. A chipped mug that has been repaired still holds tea. And sometimes, the crack is the most honest part of you. You do not have to be unbreakable. You just have to be real. If this story touched something inside you, like this video. Share it with someone who always says, "I'm fine." And subscribe to English Learning Tales for more stories like this.